sense. And I think that was the first time in my life where I really felt what it means to be a foreigner and to not belong kind of to a community. Of course, I look different, I'm from a different nation, my English sounds different, I eat different stuff, I drink different stuff, I'm just from a different culture. So for instance, there was a situation, I think I brought some, I don't know, was it some vegetable, or I think it was fried potatoes with cheese and stuff to the school. I think it was really delicious, and I love cooking, by the way, and I was never allowed to cook in my first 2 host families. It was strictly forbidden. And for me, that was extremely annoying, but also at the same time just horrible. And because I love cooking, I enjoy eating my own food, and then when you're not allowed to eat, but you can only rely on what someone else has cooked for you, that really reduces your quality in life. Maybe that sounds very arrogant or privileged or I don't know what, but for me, cooking is a part of my life. Okay, so my 3rd host family, I was allowed to cook, so I cooked. And as usual, I offered it to the teachers. But the teachers, I think 1 teacher out of 6 actually dared to try my food. I mean, I didn't know the reason why the other teachers didn't want to try. Maybe they were full, maybe they just didn't want to eat it, or maybe they were scared that I put something else into the food because they were all Brahmins, so maybe not everyone, but most of them, maybe that was the reason, I don't know. But the first impression that you get as an outsider is, okay, if I reject someone else's food, I am impolite. But if people reject my food and they don't even want to try it, that's not impolite or what? I felt sad. I felt, okay, no one wants to try my home-cooked food. But again, I'm not blaming anyone. Maybe it's just a cultural difference. And that happened actually most of the time. Or even when I bring pasta to the school, of course, no one in this school would usually eat pasta except 1 child, because he had a mother who came from Australia. But all the other kids were not used to pasta, and they would, of course, check out my lunchbox. They're like, what is this, Akka? What is this, Akka? What are you eating? I was like, that's pasta, guys. So yeah, that was something new. And of course, it also makes you feel a bit weird, because no one else knows about it or eats it, or for them it's really weird that I'm eating that, you know? Yeah, it was funny. Or also, if I would bring soda to the school. So, fun fact for you, in Germany, if you order water, they would most probably bring you sparkling water. So people in Germany are very used to drinking sparkling water. So was I. Now I totally stick to still water, but during that time I loved sparkling water, and the only substitution you could find is soda. I mean, like this I don't know what was the brand, whatever. So I brought that to school, and also again everyone looks at me like, what the heck is she drinking? And even 1 teacher wanted to try it to see how does it taste, and I'm like, hey, it's just water. Like, at the end of the day, this is just water, but okay, go ahead, drink it. Yeah, so there were many of these kind of incidents that made me feel, there is one term, alienated. I was in a position of not speaking the language, being different, having different food, having maybe a different mindset in many ways, having different opinions on also teaching methods, for instance. And I felt that maybe my personality also didn't go hand in hand with each and every teacher's personality or their mindset. Yeah, so that was a very interesting point, I would say. Yeah, and also some other incidents were maybe quite challenging for me and Lorena in the beginning, because before we came to the school, there used to be another volunteer, and I think he was the hero of the school. Literally, like, I don't know, he invested most of his free time in this project. All my respect to this person. Like, to sacrifice your free time, for me it's a big thing, because I really cherish my free time. I love my work, but I also cherish my free time and my privacy. And he stayed in the school sometimes until 9 p.m. Or he would work on projects even on the weekend. And in India, usually you have 6 days of school, if I'm not wrong. So Saturday also is a day where you go to school. But in Germany, it's not. And we had German contracts. So our week is literally from Monday to Friday, bus. Okay? Saku. Saturday would be your day off, of course, and Sunday as well. And I had a feeling that the school kind of expected me to also work on Saturdays, because the other volunteer used to do that. And when I said, no, it's nice that you're offering me this opportunity. I really appreciate it, but I'm sorry we're not gonna come on Saturdays. I think that also kind of upset them because they were used that someone would come here on Saturdays. And that was also something that made me not subconsciously disappointed or something, but just, you know, you have that feeling, okay, I'm not as good as the other person. Then I think also my Spanish roommate and me, we would always think, okay, we cannot be as good as this other volunteer because he has done so much for the school. Yeah, that was also troubling me for a long time, that I'm a perfectionist, as many of you might know, and I really don't like it. And I always tend to compare myself then to, you know, the one who previously worked at the school. Can I be a good teacher as he used to be? Or maybe am I doing worse? And I had a lot of doubts. Yeah. Well, and also I think one of the main problems that I faced was that I was sick for many, many months, and I had a very bad situation with my host families. Again, I have to make a really separate video for this topic, but it's going to be very emotional for me and difficult to talk about it. And many teachers didn't know what was going on at home, and they didn't know what was going on with my health. And they had absolutely no idea what was going on with my mental health. And maybe even empathizing with the situation of being in a different country that's of course not your home. Separate video for this. Yeah, and I think sometimes they just felt I'm sick or I'm this or I'm that, but they couldn't understand the background of it, which is not at all their fault, but that was causing a lot of other problems for me. Okay, now coming to my teaching experience. First of all, I think kids in Karnataka, or especially in Mysore, are so cute. I mean, all kids in the world are extremely cute, but I loved my children. And I was teaching first grade and second grade, third grade. Yeah, mostly first, second and third. And they would... Oh, I miss them so much. Like, you know, if I come to school, for instance, I'm wearing this, okay? They would come, oh, JenniJi, super, and they would compliment me, and they would be so happy. Or if I have some new jewelry, you know, they would immediately notice it. If I'm leaving school and they get picked up in the van, and maybe I'm walking to the bus stop, they would be like, bye, JenniJi, bye, and everyone is like just shouting your name. Or once I remember an Uber picked me up from school, and I had a suitcase with me because I wanted to travel to go for, I think we went to Gokarna for the weekend. And they thought I'm leaving to Germany without saying goodbye. And then all of them ran behind the car, and they're like, no, JenniJi, don't go. And I was like, I'm not going to Germany. They were so cute. And even now being in the school here in Cairo, it's not the same. Of course it's not the same. They're so cute. I also love the children here. It's just, yeah, maybe a different culture, and it was just a very different school where you are so much connected to the kids. And also the teachers there would play games with the kids. They are both on one level. I feel like there's not this authority and the kid is over here. Like, it's, you know, like the positions are very much equal, I would say. And yeah, they would play with the kids. They would sometimes go on trips with the kids and also sleep in one room. Totally unimaginable in Germany. Never ever a teacher would sleep together with his students in a room. Or even, like, you know, see them brush their teeth or change their clothes, or I don't know. It was a very interesting experience. So I also went to one school trip with them to Rameshwaram, for instance. Yeah, oh god, I really have to keep this video short. This is gonna be such a long video. Yeah, also another aspect I wanted to talk about. In first grade, for instance, I had 28 kids. And now imagine you have a teacher who's really young and who doesn't speak your native language. And of course, not every child is always disciplined, even though we would wish they could be, but nope. And then you have to teach. That was very, very difficult for me sometimes to handle 28 children. I'm honestly saying I couldn't really handle them. There was always noise, there were always interruptions, and somehow I realized I have to find a strategy to discipline them, or at least to just make it less noisy so that we all can learn together. So I was drawing like 3 smileys, a happy one, so face kind of, so face and a sad one. And then I put them into groups of 9, and I told them, okay, you are a team and your team has to stick together, you have to participate, and you have to behave well, and if you do all of that, then you're gonna get a happy smiley. Your team gets a happy smiley. But if just one team member doesn't behave properly or talks or interrupts or anything, you will not get the smiley. So all 9 kids have to behave properly. And there were 3 groups, and I told it to every single child and explained it to them. And then I made some posters where I would stick these smileys. And I told them, like, the team who has won most of the happy smileys gets a little treat from me at the end of the year. I understand that this is, again, some sort of competition. On the other hand, I personally also feel that this is the real world. I don't like competition, I hate it, and it's toxic. But in some cases, I also feel that children, from my perspective, should not live in a bubble. Yeah, and I thought it's just like a fair team play. You would also have the same thing if you have a football game, only one team can win. In any sports, there is only one team which can win. But still, it's up to the teacher who would need to explain the other kids, hey, just because you lost doesn't mean that you have not behaved well or that you were noisy or whatever. Maybe you have tried your best and you were also learning properly, and I cherish your efforts. I think that's important when it comes to didactics, but of course that's a different topic. So, and then the teacher realized that I would put up these posters and they didn't like it. So I had to remove the posters. They told me I can still carry on my method somehow, but they were not really happy with it, to be honest, because they saw it again as a kind of competition and just didn't want me to do that. It worked so well. It worked so incredibly well. Literally from day 1 onwards, when I tried this method, they were all super nice behaving. Literally, they tried to make each other stop talking and stuff. And now I also realize that there are also other methods that you can use, but that was my idea, and I felt, okay, again, I did a mistake because the teachers didn't really like it. But again, I don't want to blame the teachers. This is just an observation. Yeah, so all in all, the school was very creative, very much into arts, into instruments, into dancing, into theater plays, into creative projects, into involving parents in everything, basically whatever they did. The school was also very close to nature. I loved that. They had really, really good teachers who had a good sense for kids. And yeah, of course, there were also some problems for me here and there to get integrated into the community, maybe also to get accepted into the community. And maybe also from my side, I did not always do everything correct. But I also think that there are a couple of points that maybe the school could have worked on to make the time, maybe to reduce the awkward situations that I have come across, unfortunately. By the way, I actually wrote a list for the next volunteers, so they know exactly what they have to take care of. So they know that don't wear leggings only on these 2 specific days, don't bring your juice, don't bring chocolate, also don't bring eggs in the school. I also did that. I also didn't know that I can't have eggs, because most of the teachers and kids were Brahmins, so of course I cannot eat an egg over there, even though in Germany eggs, not just in Germany, I think all across the globe, eggs are vegetarian because it is not meat. It's not, of course it comes from an animal, but if you go to that extent, then you have to be vegan, but not vegetarian. But that's a different topic, and I had many, many discussions on this topic. However, of course, it was not allowed, so don't bring eggs to the school. But yeah, I miss the kids a lot, and I learned a lot from them, and I also learned many words in Kannada from the kids, like Yella silent agiri, like, you know, Yella silent agiri Tejas. Yeah, I all learned it from the kids. Okay, long talk. Then thank you so much for watching. Dhanyavad, Dhanyawadagalu, Shukriya, and bye bye. See you in my next video.